Hi, my name is Ryan, a warrior for Christ. Go read day 6 of the Bible recap. You're going to pause this video and then come back, and I'll be here waiting for you. Let's get into day 6. So today we read Job chapters 10 through 13, and honestly, this is where things start getting heavy mentally. Yesterday was more about grief and shock. Today, Job emotionally starts breaking down, while the people around him, they start attacking him instead of helping him. And if we're being real, a lot of people know exactly what it feels like when that happens. You're already hurting, you're beating yourself up, self-sabotaging, you're mentally exhausted, you're fighting battles nobody else sees, and then people make it worse with their words. We already talked about yesterday that Job lost his children, he lost his health, he lost his money, and he lost his comfort. And now his friends basically start telling him, this must be your fault. So they believed if somebody suffered badly, that it was the person that must have sinned really badly. But the book of Job is showing us something deeper. Not every painful season is a punishment of God. Sometimes faithful people suffer too. Sometimes good people go through dark seasons. Sometimes strong people mentally break down. Sometimes people who love God still struggle with confusion, anxiety, loneliness, and pain. And then Job starts opening up honestly to God. In chapter 10, he basically says, why was I even born? Why is it happening to me? Why does it feel like God is against me? That's a dangerous mental place to be in. And I think all of us have been in that place before, where we start questioning God and ask him, why is this happening to me? So I know a lot of you listening right now might be feeling that. Those nights where your mind won't stop racing, where you feel emotionally drained. I've been there before, where life feels unfair, where everybody expects you to stay strong while internally you feel like you're collapsing. That's where Job is mentally. But here's the powerful part. Even in confusion, Job still talks to God. He doesn't walk away. He doesn't completely isolate himself spiritually. He keeps bringing the pain to God. And can you honestly say you do that every time you bring your pain to God? Some people need to hear this today. God can handle your honesty. You don't have to fake being okay around him. He knows everything. A lot of people think faith means pretending everything is fine. It doesn't. It's just believing that everything's going to be fine. Still praying when life hurts. Real faith is saying, God, I don't understand this, but I'm still coming to you. Then chapter 11 comes in, and Job's friend Zophar starts talking. And honestly, he talks with zero compassion. He basically tells Job, you probably deserve worse than this. Imagine hearing that after losing your children and everything you owned. Your friend that supposedly is your friend is piling it on. This chapter teaches a huge lesson. Religious words without compassion can destroy people. A lot of people know scripture, but don't know how to love hurting people. Some people speak facts without wisdom. Some people correct people without empathy. Some people judge wounds they've never personally survived. And honestly, that happens a lot today. We all do it. People judge depression without understanding mental exhaustion. People judge addiction without understanding of pain. And then people judge divorce without understanding betrayal. Lastly, people judge struggling people while never asking what they've been through. It's easy to talk about storms you never had to survive. A lot of us do that. That's why Job finally snaps back in chapter 12, basically saying, you think you know everything, but you really don't. He starts to stick up for himself. And honestly, that line hits hard because it's true. A lot of people think they know the facts, but they don't. They actually understand your life, but they don't. Some people, they only see your current season. God sees the entire story. Then Job starts talking about how powerful God truly is. He reminds them that God controls kings, nations, and wisdom. And this matters because Job is starting to understand something. Even when life feels chaotic, God is still sovereign. Remember that. Even when your life doesn't make sense, God is still in control. You're not. That next breath you're going to take, that's God. He's in control. And then chapter 13 gives one of the coldest statements in the entire book of Job. Job says, though he slay me, yet will I trust him. That is real faith. Can you say that if God slays you, you can still trust him? He takes everything from you? A lot of us just say, I trust God only when life is good. I trust God only when prayers get answered fast. Job didn't say that. His life was hurting. He lost his kids, lost everything, and he still loved him. He suffered. He didn't understand, but he was still faithful to God. And that's maturity. So anyone can worship during blessings, but when life falls apart, when you feel abandoned, when your mind feels exhausted, are you still committed to God? Do you still seek him, or do you run? Because if you still seek him, that's real endurance. A lot of people don't. This chapter teaches us also to be careful how we treat hurting people. Make sure that you're empathizing with them and not judging them. Job's friends spent so much time accusing him more than they did encouraging him. And some people today are barely hanging on mentally, smiling in public, crying on the inside. Some people are fighting spiritual warfare silently. Some people are emotionally exhausted and nobody around them even notices. That's why your words matter. You never know what one negative sentence will do to somebody. But the person that listens, be the person that encourages. Be the person that prays, not the person that adds more weight onto the wounded people. And maybe somebody watching needs to hear this directly. Just because life hurt you now doesn't mean God abandoned you. Just because you're confused doesn't mean God left you. So go out, lead, and be great, and we'll see you tomorrow.